Hello, everyone. I'm Coach Dukwasa Dean, here today to take another stimulating conversation on conversations. Our conversation today is I just like to share seems like the internet is doing whatever it wants to do today. And it seems that we lost connection for just a short period of time. So I am hopeful that you're still here for our conversation. And nevertheless, I will go ahead and get started as we talk today about the fact that confidence is not the real key to success. Now, you may be saying, Duquesa, what do you mean that confidence is not the real key to success? I've heard all of my life that confidence is the thing that makes me stand apart from other people. And today we're talking about the fact that confidence is not the real key to success. Actually, it goes a little bit deeper than confidence, and confidence is a byproduct of the thing that we are going to talk about today. Again, if we do have internet issues, please know that I am in a Caribbean island and we seem to be having some unstable issues with the internet today. So please forgive me. So let's dive right into our conversation. And if anything at all resonates with you, please let me know. Share and deepen this conversation with your thoughts, your feedback in the comment section. So, how do we move from self doubt to self love? And another question that we can ask ourselves is why is improving our self esteem worth the effort? Now, as you know, my conversations are usually geared toward women. I am a woman that coaches other women, but these principles and keys are applicable to anyone, male or female. So if you're joining our conversation today and I am saying female woman, please know that this can still apply to you. But as women, we often hear that we need to be more confident in the workplace. But what exactly does that mean? And how does confidence and self-esteem relate to one another? Because in reality, I'm going to say it again, confidence is not the real key to success. Now, if you look around your office, you may see that chest pumping guy who has all the titles and who has all the talk with very little show. And maybe even that girl, because I said guy, but it could also be that girl. He or she may appear confident, but beneath the surface, self esteem issues may be prevalent. Now, I don't know if you know anyone, but I can tell you that there was actually a time in my life where I appeared more confident than I actually really was. That's why this conversation is so personal to me today, because I know what it feels like to walk into a room and immediately jump into imposter syndrome, to walk into a boardroom, to walk into an office and act like I have all of my stuff together, act confident, but inside of me struggled with self esteem, self worth, and self value issues. We often look at the people around us and believe that those who project that they have it all put together actually do. But you have to recognize and realize that there are so many people in this world who put on uh, fake images and facades just for the appearance of looking strong, healthy, and confident. But beneath the surface, there's so much more lingering. And if we take the time to really get to know people versus not just looking at that surface glance, we'll come to find out that some people really aren't as confident as they project. And that some person or some people could actually be us. Now, confidence and self esteem are related, but they're definitely not the same thing. Confidence is the belief in your abilities and skills, and self esteem is the belief in yourself or your worth as a person. So I hope you can clearly see the difference. Even if you have no special skills, even if you have no special abilities, you still have worth as a person. And so your esteem should be one that you work on so that you understand that you are valuable as an individual and your skills and talents are a component or a part of who you are. So, confidence is belief in your abilities and skills. We create or we develop these abilities and skills as a result of our belief in ourselves as individuals. So, confidence is a byproduct of having a strong self esteem. I'm not talking about fake confidence. I'm talking about real confidence. Real confidence is when we can trust ourselves to handle a specific task or a specific situation. But when we have real healthy self esteem, we believe that we are valuable and deserving of respect, regardless of our successes or our failures. People with strong self esteem look for the silver lining in every situation. People with strong self esteem understand that failing gives them the opportunity to be successful in another attempt. And it doesn't shake the core of who they are. They learn from their mistakes and use those lessons to execute a different strategy or a better strategy. Now, both confidence and self esteem are important for success. But I want you to know today that they are not interchangeable. You can be confident in one area, like I am in public speaking, but you could struggle with self-esteem in another area. You could struggle with self-esteem in another area. So confidence that you really believe in yourself, but because you don't have a certain skill, you may not have confidence in that area. So please let me know if the distinction between confidence and self-esteem is becoming more and more clear for you. So I want to ask a question and then I'll go ahead and answer it. But why is this important for women in the workplace? And I want to tell you why. Because studies have shown that women often struggle with both confidence and self esteem in ways that men don't. Listen, men could rock it. Like they don't have, they don't use the mental energy that women use. Women are more hesitant to speak up in meetings or negotiate for a raise because we may doubt our own abilities or we may second guess whether we will have a place at that organization or not. But men do this without even thinking. They ask for even more than they deserve. And as women, we also struggle with imposter syndrome because we feel that we may not belong or that our successes are nothing more than a fluke. Now, these thoughts stem from the way that we were groomed, the way that we were nurtured, the way that we were parented. And so, as little girls, there were lessons that we were taught, and some of those lessons were subconscious lessons. They weren't so direct. Boys were given the freedom to go to room, to be. Boys were given the freedom to dominate, to conquer. Boys were given the freedom to stay out later, to roam the streets, to do whatever they wanted. But the minute little girls became or crossed over that threshold from young girl or little girl into womanhood by her menstrual period, her parents just freaked out. And in a lot of instances, it is a single family home, so her mom goes into protective mode. Her mom shelters her. Her mom starts to talk to her about protecting her assets and being careful about people and men and all of these lessons that little girls are taught about making sure that they can be safe. Some of those lessons work against us. We were taught from little children that little girls should be seen, not heard. We were taught from we were young that little girls had certain roles, like we were supposed to cook, so we're supposed to be at home in the kitchen. That little girls grow up to be women who have babies, and so our role is to find a husband and get married and do those maternal functions and those wifely functions. But we were never really taught how to dominate in the corporate world or that it is okay to pursue a career. And oftentimes, women who are pursuing careers are frowned upon because society, even though we have progressed, lingering in the background is this thought that there is a certain place that women should be. And these things all impact our confidence in the workplace. If we can recognize the difference between confidence and self esteem, though, we can begin to address those challenges. Because by focusing on building both our confidence and our esteem, we can become better individuals, first of all. We can become more effective leaders. And thirdly, we can become better advocates for ourselves. We can become spicy, like my friend Neela. We can become outspoken, like my friend Lukisha. We could become more career driven while still balancing a home, like my friend Dr. Michelle Rancher. And so we have to learn how to trust our abilities while also recognizing our inherent worth as an individual, as a human being. So let's talk for a couple of minutes, and I want to give you 5 reasons or 5 ways why improving your self worth is worth the effort. And I see Lakeisha, I'm seeing Mildred saying right on point. And I see Lakeisha is saying our journey definitely impacts our thinking. And the sooner we learn that, Lakeisha, and inspect the beliefs that have been driven into us and understand the ways that we may have been brainwashed or prevented from really pursuing our dreams, our goals, and our passion, the better it is for us so that we can wake up and pursue the things that really bring us joy. And so to share with you five reasons why improving self-esteem is worth the effort. Now, there are many benefits to having an enhanced self-esteem, according to psychologists everywhere. But here are the key ones that stand out to me. Well, the first thing, when you have a high self-esteem, you have improved mental health. May is Mental Health Month. And so when you have a healthy self esteem, you're less likely to struggle with anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues. You're also better able to cope with stress and setbacks. Having a high self esteem also means that you know at the foundation of yourself who you are and what you are about. So externally, other people don't have the capacity to rattle you. You're able to stand firm in your belief as an individual and in the values that make you who you are. Secondly, with strong self esteem, you're able to build better relationships. Having a positive self image can improve your relationships with others. When you feel good about yourself, you're more likely to attract other people with high self esteem and communicate effectively with them. The law of magnetism tells us that who we are is who we will attract. And so if you have high self esteem, you are going to attract other people who also have high self esteem. Thirdly, when you have great or higher self esteem, you have greater resilience. And resilience is that bounce back ability because you recognize that failure is nothing more than a lesson. And so people with high self esteem are better able to handle challenges and setbacks because they're not questioning the foundation of who they are. They are instead questioning the lesson that they are gaining from the experience, from the failure, from whatever the situation is. They are looking at the situation and questioning the execution of that particular situation, chances for them to grow. And so, yes, I know that we are our greatest critics, and we can look at our execution and nitpick it to pieces. And while that is the case, individuals with high self esteem also know how to celebrate themselves for the things that went well, even while they are extracting the lessons from whatever situation they may find themselves in. The fourth thing people with higher self esteem benefit from is more success. Because when you believe in yourself, when you believe in your abilities, no matter how far fetched anybody else thinks those abilities or your ideas are, You take action. And action is the single most determining factor for success. And action is actually what distinguishes a dream builder from a fantasizer. Because someone who's fantasizing is going to sit down and daydream all day, every day. But the person with high self esteem is going to take action. And so people who take action know that action is a requirement and they take action in every area of their lives. This could be academics, career, personal relationships. Because when you believe in yourself, believe it or not, you are more likely to take risk, calculated risk, and pursue your goals. The fifth and final thing people with great self esteem benefit from is improved physical health. Because there is evidence that actually suggests that people with high self esteem may have better physical healthy outcomes, such as lower rates of cardiovascular disease and better immune functions. Because to sit down and dwell in stress, which is a silent killer, by the way, has a toll on our bodies. And so, if you want to be someone that has a greater self esteem at work, I want to give you 6 steps to help you do that. Because overall, having a healthy self esteem can improve your life in so many ways. It can make you feel happier, more confident, and more successful. Having healthy self esteem allows you to create boundaries that keep things in, but also that keep things and people out. And so, if you struggle with low self esteem, I want to encourage you to seek support from a therapist or maybe another mental health professional. There is nothing wrong with having a counselor, okay? Because sometimes we need help to get us through certain situations and to help us identify our worth. And I found myself in that situation about 17 years ago when I sat on my bathroom floor and attempted to take my own life because I was in a place where I thought my life was useless. But today I live a more confident life because I worked with a mentor who helped me to establish at the foundation of myself who I am. And so my core is so strong because I believe in who I am. And to believe in who I am, I had to first know who I wanted to become and then become that person. And so I see that Dr. Michelle Rencher is saying when you are confident and resilient, you know that any crisis or challenge is not forever, and solutions to resolve are within all of us. Absolutely. Famaya, I hope I pronounced that right, is saying that trusting yourself is the key. So, quickly, if you want to take notes on these 6 ways to improve your self esteem, go ahead and do so. The first thing I want to encourage you to do is to identify your strengths. I'm a leadership coach. And when I'm training in my leadership sessions, one of the things that I talk about is that employees are happier working in their areas of strength. In the corporate world, we have this thing about employees concentrating on their areas of weaknesses. And as an employee, when you come to work, if you are forced to work in an area what you're not very competent at, it hits at the very core of who you are. It hits your self confidence if you are not able to execute in the manner in which you are accustomed to. And so I recommend to leaders to use their employees' strength. When we operate in the area of our strengths, we're happier, we're more competent, and we are more productive. So, as far as possible, identify what your strengths are as an individual. Take the time to really reflect on what you are good at. Write down your skills, your talents, and your accomplishments, both big and small, because this can help you to recognize your value and then begin to feel more confidence in your abilities. Remember, earlier I shared with you that self esteem is different from self confidence. Self esteem is knowing inherently that you deserve to be respected, that you have value and worth, and confidence is a byproduct of that. So discover what your strengths are. Secondly, I want to encourage you to practice self care. Women specifically, we carry so many responsibilities. This one person here is president of the youth organization, president president of a cancer group, the director of her in every one of the capacities that I fill, it is super important for me to make self care non negotiable, which is why every Sunday I have a down day, which is why I've started taking weekends away from social media because social media is also one of the things that can drain us of our energy and of our happiness. And so I've pulled myself away from social media on weekends. I've also established start times and cutoff times that I will work. As a self employed person, those boundaries are super important. I also make sure that I meditate every morning, that I pray, that I listen to uplifting music. Dr. Rachel likes to send me TED Talks to listen to that are uplifting and edifying. And so I feed myself so that I am able to give of myself and not feel resentment for it. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Make sure that you get enough sleep. Make sure that you eat nutritious food. Make sure that you're exercising and taking breaks as necessary. Consider some stress reducing activities like taking a walk or yoga or meditation and adding that into your routine. Yes, I know there is a lot to do. Yes, I know that there's a world to dominate. Yes, I know that there's a corporate ladder to achieve. Yes, I know that there's a business to build. Yes, I know that there are side hustles that you want to manifest into full time jobs. At the end of the day, none of those things will be executed in a standard of excellence if you are weak, tired, drained, resentful, and bitter. The third thing I want to encourage you to do is to surround yourself with positive influences. John Maxwell states in The Law of Magnetism again that who we are is who we attract. So, in order to see who you are attracting, look at who is in your circle. That is going to give you a mirror approach to see who you are. And if you look at your circle and you're recognizing that you need more positivity, then look for the people in your environment who are positive. Iron sharpens iron. And just the other day, I actually watched a sermon by Pastor Mike Todd where he had an axe and he had a piece of wood. And in his illustration, he was sharing that if you take the axe and you chop it on the wood will dull the axe. But if you take another axe and hit it with another axe, they are going to sharpen each other. So you want to make sure that you are around other people who believe in themselves, their worth, who have strong values and virtues, who can offer encouragement and constructive feedback, and avoid people who bring you down or make you doubt yourself. I'm going to tell you a quick little story about when I first started my journey to becoming a corporate coach. I had a friend who had been my friend for well over 20 years at that particular point in time. And she said to me, "Well, what makes you think that you can do something like that?" And I was like, wow, from a friend, this should be someone who is saying, girl, go get your dreams. Be careful of the risk, but go and get your dreams. And needless to say, we're no longer close friends today because the more I grew, the more I elevated, the more I, advanced my life, the more distance that came between us, which brings me to a lesson that I didn't even intend to teach today. We don't even need to cut people off. All we need to do is grow. So as we grow and they're not growing with us, space and distance will naturally happen. So make sure that you're avoiding people who are making you feel bad about yourself, who are bringing the environment down, who are negative. The fourth thing I'd like to encourage you to do is to set achievable goals. Yes, I want you to dream big. And your overall goal should be that goal you want to achieve 20 years from now because it anchors us and it gives us something to work towards a goal. It's super important for you to break that goal down into actionable steps. As you begin to take action on those micro goals and you begin to achieve them, you're going to build your belief in yourself more and believe in your execution more. And so, yourself with other people, set goals, and make sure that those goals align with your virtues and values. Make sure organizations that are also alignment with your virtues, you're not outside of alignment. You many times that you situation, that's okay. Just don't get stuck in what should be a temporary situation because it will keep you in a toxic environment longer than you want to. Talk. I actually watched a live with Dr. Rancher the other day. There were three other doctors. I think there were four doctors on the live, and there were being questions about their role and their journey to being doctors. And one of the guys, I think it was Dr. John, spoke about the fact that he had to challenge negative self-talk and ask himself, like, why not him? We think about, well, can I really do that? Am I deserving of that? Why not me? Why not flip the script? Flip the script and say, why isn't that possible for me? Why am I not? This is for me. So as you begin to think about your goals, your dreams, as you begin to think about elevating through your career and in different corporate environments, as you think about stepping into entrepreneurship, as you think about becoming a mom, a wife, or any of the other roles that you're aspired to, um, as those negative conversations come up, challenge those negative beliefs, challenge those and find out what they're rooted in. As I begin to wrap up, I'm going to close with a personal story and tell you about a time when I had to really pause and think about why I was attracting so many men in my life that were dishonest and who didn't have the ability to be faithful in a relationship, which resulted in me experiencing heartbreak a number of times. What I recognize is that because of my parenting beliefs and the experiences that I had as a child, as a teen, and growing up, I believe that I wasn't worthy of a love that honored me because my great grandmother died. She abandoned me. My mom gave me to my great grandma. My great grandmother, she was a teen mom. She didn't know how to properly nurture me. Her intent was good, and we had a great conversation about it. And while I understood her reasoning when I was younger, I still felt abandoned. During my teen years, I struggled with the sense of feeling loved and nurtured and supported. And so, at the core of who I was back then, my belief system said to me that I wasn't deserving of love that honored me. And so I attracted people into my life to make that belief a reality. Let's bring it to the corporate world because there was a time for very long that I worked at jobs that sucked the life out of me. I would go to work day after day. As a matter of fact, there were times when I would sit up on my bed and talk myself into going to work, reminding myself that I had bills to pay, reminding myself that there was a 6'2" hunk of a son I had in college, and college fees were not cheap. They needed to be paid. I would remind myself that I love to eat juicy food. And so I gave myself a pep talk every day to go to toxic work environments that were just sucking the life out of me. And I did that because that was what I was taught. I was taught that you finish school, you go to college, you get a degree, you get a good job, you stay on that job because Gen X's were loyal to their environment, and baby boomers, they were loyal. And so those were the lessons that we were taught. And so I would get up and go to these toxic work environments because that was what I was taught. Are you going to your toxic work environment because you were taught to be loyal to an environment and that longevity on a job was worth something? Are you going to a toxic work environment because you believe that you just need enough to cover your bills? I want you to inspect that belief. I want you to inspect the reason why you're doing the thing that you know that you don't want to do. And I want you to challenge the negative self talk that's keeping you stuck and shackled to poor relationships, poor jobs, to keeping you shackled to poor organizations. Challenge the negative self talk and replace it with the truth of who you are. Because once you know what your strengths are, you're beginning to understand the value that you hold. And so you now are in a position to challenge your negative self talk. Six, and finally, cultivate a growth mindset. Because when we can understand and accept that one failure doesn't make you a failure. One mistake, two mistakes, three mistakes doesn't make you a failure. It makes the execution of what you have done not successful, but not you as an individual. And the sooner we begin to understand that the more mistakes we make, the more we learn and the more we're able to become successful. But if you are smart, you would understand that learning from the mistakes of other people is a better way to become more successful. And to do that, you have to cultivate a growth mindset. A growth mindset makes you understand that you can't do it alone. We can only take ourselves to as far as our experiences allow us to. And anyone else that we're connected to can only take us as far as their experiences have taken them. They can't take us beyond that. So we must find people that are ahead of us in their journey who can mentor and coach us. We have to always be growing and accept that learning is a constant part of life. Constantly learning should be a natural part of growth and development. And instead of beating ourselves up, we have to focus on the experiences and how we can do better next time. When we are in growth mode, we're building ourselves, we're building on who we are. But when we're stagnant, we're stuck. Those 6 steps can help women at work improve their self esteem and feel more confident in their abilities. So, to improve your confidence, you must first improve your self esteem. And your self esteem is the inherent belief of your worthiness. Do you believe that you're worthy? Do you believe that you're deserving? Do you believe that you're valuable? Self esteem is something that can be cultivated over time with practice, practice, practice. So if you're a woman in the workplace, don't just focus on being more confident. Don't focus on holding on to imposter syndrome. Instead, take time to cultivate your self esteem. Seek out opportunities to learn and grow, but also give yourself grace to make mistakes. And remember that your worth as a person isn't tied to your job performance or your ability to project confidence. By embracing both confidence and self esteem, you can unlock your full potential and achieve your goals. As we leave today's live, I'd like you to take a question and consider it. Which aspect of your personal and professional development would you like to focus on working on most? As a woman today, living life on her terms, I can tell you that we can move from overwhelm and step into ownership of our lives. As a woman who is well on the way to achieving her 20-year goal, I can tell you that the road may be long and there will be ups and downs, but it is possible. As a woman who had a shaky self esteem, I want to tell you today that it is possible to rebuild yourself, to rebuild your brand, and to rebuild your self esteem. As a woman who had to release and forgive so many people for not doing the jobs that they were responsible for, I want you to know that it's okay to forgive your mother, your father, your family, whoever it was that was responsible for building your self esteem and neglected to do it, and release them of the responsibility because you are now an adult and it is your responsibility. So, what they couldn't do, I implore you to do. Learn how to affirm yourself, learn how to validate yourself, learn how to discover who you are today. And if that person is someone that you want to be a better person, then learn who you want that person to be. Establish your values as an individual. What are the characteristics that make you who you are? And when you have that, then, my friend, you are well on your way to building a high self esteem. Dr. Michelle, thank you for being here. And again, Billy, it's wonderful to see you. Thank you for joining me. Lakeisha, it is indeed possible. Thank you all for being here today. And as usual, if you need support, I'm going to drop a link beneath our conversation for one of the resources that I have. If you also just want to have a coffee chat or a conversation, I'll drop a resource underneath this conversation too, where you can just contact me and we can have a conversation because I'd love to get to know you a little bit more and I'd love to support you in any way that I can. And so, guys, God bless you all. Thank you for joining our live conversation today. And I look forward to seeing you next week, Thursday. And next week, Thursday, we're actually going to be talking to women leaders on why getting buy in from your team is super important. Take care, guys. God bless you all.